Hello, this is Neil from iPaintGirls.com, and I'm going to be showing how to draw Wolverine, but I'll be showing some other things too, like how to strike a powerful dynamic pose and everything. And so this is just a quick sketch I was doing, and you can see some of the undersketching there too. And I like to start with at least something, get warmed up, and this is what I decided to get warmed up with. And I didn't think it was important to actually show this warming up process because I've done it in so many other videos, but this is the general idea of the pose I kind of had in mind, but this is very weak. I mean, it's okay. It has some power to it. You have the wide stance, wide shoulders. The shoulders should probably come back though. Back away from them. That would be more powerful looking rather than coming forward like this here. But either way, it's an okay pose. It's an okay start, and I can work with this and get going. So what I'm gonna do then is just totally turn that down, and then I'm going to start with something else, something different. And one way I can make this pose more powerful is I can either come from the top, and actually I don't need to see that. I can come from the top, let's say, and have his shoulders kind of coming like this, and then have his neck kind of coming back over, and then his head would kind of be like this here, and it'd be kind of maybe from the side view. You can have his mouth, all open and stuff, and he can be all wild, and he'll have his Wolverine thing coming up there and all that. Nose or whatever. That nose is really messed up, but you get the idea. So then his shoulder would come back over there, and he'd have that shoulder over there, and then coming over here, he would have his like I said, his neck muscle coming back there, and then he'd have this part here, that big muscle, and then you'd begin to have his shoulder muscle here, and you can kind of begin to fit that in. And his chest muscle would kind of come back like over there like that. And then you can either have this arm coming back up like this, and then elbow and coming like this, let's say, and then he'd have his claws, and then you can have this muscle coming, or this arm coming back this way, and then let's say kind of coming out over here somewhere, have his hand very big, and then have his claws coming off. Notice at this point I'm just experimenting, so I'm spending as little time as possible just to capture the idea. Actually, this rib cage should come way over there like that, because that's the center line over there, so it has to be more like that. And you can see a lot of this side view here, and then you can kind of have him coming like that. Then you can really pull the power of this pose. Notice that center line right there, and his hips and pelvis and everything. I'm going to have to reduce the size of this, like so. And then you can have this leg, coming. First I want to kind of establish a foot line. I kind of want the line coming out like this way. I know his balance point has to be somewhere along here, so I can just kind of make some feet targets, let's say, something like that. That way he kind of looks balanced. And I don't really like the way that arm, but I like the way you can kind of see his back here. That's kind of cool looking. But I don't know if I want his arm up like that. I think I might have his arm where you just see part of his shoulder, just part of his bicep, and then part of this hand here, and then he'd have his claws like that. Probably looks more powerful than having the arm way up there like that. You can really bring out the knee over here. Make this leg back here way smaller. And I'm not adding any muscles and stuff like that yet, because again, at this stage, I'm just trying to save time. I don't want to add anything to it yet. And then this leg would maybe come out like so. And then I really want to tweak and bend the knee and calf and come back here. So I kind of really want to tweak the way it looks. Kind of bring that back maybe as far as I can over here, somewhere in that direction. And then kind of have his foot something like so. Right, so that gives a general idea. So a pose like that could be really cool, and I might want to go with something like that. So after you kind of work with something and you kind of like the general direction it went, let's say his head would be a lot bigger in this area like this. I really want to kind of almost like he's really hunched back. You know, you can make everything bigger and stuff, but I like the way that looks. It looks pretty cool. So that's one quick sketch pose, you know, and it kind of had the general idea that I started with, except I decided to look more at the top, like I'm looking down at him, and kind of twist it this way. As if he's a 3D model, I'm kind of twisting that way. I'm looking more from the, you know, more down on, so I can see his back region across here and all those muscles, and that can look pretty powerful. That's almost funny looking, like he broke his neck. So might want to make his head up here more, you know, and then that would be able to, you know, would be his chest. So his head might be up there more. And it'd probably be a side view. And then, you know, you'd be able to see his chest here more, like that, and then part of that collarbone and stuff. Right, something like that. So, you know, then he can be all like raw, maybe. Anyway, so yeah, you get the idea. Okay, so how much time I wasted? 6 minutes, or almost 7 minutes. So that's one pose, and I like it. Another way to make this more dramatic too is to kind of look up at the pose. And in this case, then I kind of want similar target for the feet, something about like this. And one foot's gonna be here, and one foot's gonna come out way over here, and it's gonna be bigger and coming more toward us. And so, just kind of that's gonna be more of a side view, something like that, right? And then kind of want it to come out like this, and I want this one to kind of come like that. That leg will be more like so. So kind of similar to the other one, but I'm going to be looking up at the character. So all the lines, the horizon lines will be down here. So all the lines are going to be going up like this. Whereas this character is more looking down, and the horizon line is up here more. And so all the lines are going to be more going down like that, because I'm looking, you know, we're looking kind of down at the character because we can see his, you know, the upper part of his back there. I think both are good ways to get a powerful dynamic pose. Looking up or down at a character both work nicely. Just kind of erase some of that. Okay. Then I kind of want, you know, to put in some sort of hip area here, and I got to think how much, almost like a front view maybe. Just think about that Superman kind of pant look. That's what you're kind of going for there. And I want a lot of bend and twist. So I want to kind of bend this back, and then kind of bend this forward like that. So this right here is going to be his chest area. Let me think about this. Want it more like this actually. And then that part of the chest up there, and then part of the chest is going to be coming back over there. Collarbone, kind of to the back muscle, some of the neck here, and then have his head kind of come somewhere in this area. I don't know yet exactly. Put his shoulder back here, and then have this shoulder coming, you know, way up and back. So you just kind of see part of that big muscle there. And I really want to see a lot of this side. And then then I'm thinking you're going to see just a little bit of the bicep here and there, like that, kind of like sort of like before. This is pretty much the same pose as the one I just did, except we're looking down at the character, kind of. I'm thinking I'm going to have his face more like this, so he's going to be like more, it's kind of angry. Shorter head and stuff. Making sure everything, this is all getting really big up here, and it shouldn't be. This should all be bigger because we're kind of looking up at him, but I can fix that in just a second. See, what I did is I got too involved in the details instead of just doing really basic primitive shapes, which is what I should have been focusing on. So I'm going to focus on that now. And I'm thinking kind of view 1, 2, and then that one will be back behind that blade, maybe something like that. And then his fist and everything. So that's starting to look pretty cool. You know, it's starting to go kind of where, bring that over there more, that center line. So like I said, this is the hardest part. This is where you're trying to translate your thoughts onto paper, and then once you get them onto paper, which is this original, this is just a transfer your thoughts onto paper. Once you get them onto paper, it's then messing around with different poses and different angles of that pose, and whether you're looking up or down, and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, that is the hardest part, and that's what takes the most time. For me anyway. This is going to be very foreshortened, this leg here. And then we're going to see some of his knee. And then like that. But again, I think I want, right now he looks very top heavy. And that will be easy to fix, so. But I want to get the primitive shapes in there first. So let's take this. I'm going to use the distort feature. This is what's cool about sketching with Photoshop, is there's like so many cheats and stuff you can do that just really make it easier to, you know, do your drawings. Where if you're going to do this by pencil, you'd have to, you know, erase slightly and then redraw and stuff like that, and then that's just a lot harder. So notice I'm bringing all of this out in forced perspective, and I think forced perspective is it's an easy way to get some cool results. Now I don't even think I have to move that leg. I think I can just keep it small like that back there. And yeah, something like so. So that's the, bring this calf down lower. And the knee, I want the knee to really be prominent here. That part of the knee, and then part of the muscle back there. When I'm doing feet, I like drawing these two C shapes there, because it really does help you establish that there's shape. And then I can worry about anatomy and all that, but this is all going to be, you know, he's going to have that big muscle there. You might be able to see part of it from the side, and then, you know, part of that muscle over there. It's going to be coming way out like that. And you might be able to see part of that middle muscle. Part of that connects over there. And notice I kind of did put a little too much detail and stuff in as I was working, because I was already thinking about anatomy. It's something that sometimes just comes naturally as you're doing the primitive shapes. You kind of already start to add in some of the anatomy, and that's cool. You know, it's fine. You don't have to worry about, like, if it comes naturally, don't like try not to add the anatomy. I mean, add the anatomy if it comes naturally. Just do it. Then you'd have that kind of dark space in there. I kind of like this look here when you come with the wrist like that, and then the fist just adds more power. And that's more of a side view, so I might have to bring this to more of a 3/4 view by almost running out of time here for part 1. Kind of more like that. Anyway, or I might just do a side view of the fist. I might just have, you know, that one where you can just see that kind of one blade, and maybe see another little bit of the blade behind like that, rather than coming out at this quarter view. I don't know what's more powerful. Both look pretty cool. Yeah, having that arm back there like that, I think I like this pose much better. Just kind of looking up at him makes him look more powerful. Yeah, that looks pretty cool and everything. That's pretty powerful. So just reviewing. Alright, so we're just going to review this first part here in the last 60 seconds. So you start out with something that you can imagine in your mind, you know, some general pose, and it's probably not going to come out that good. Then you start thinking of things that are going to make it more powerful, you know, a wider stance, maybe shoulders back more, chest pumping out, more of a C curve and stuff like that. And then you're like, well, maybe up, notice this big C curve, and I should probably draw that in red. Damn it, I'm going to run out of time. That C curve like there, and you want to really exaggerate that, and then you're thinking, okay, yeah, you know, shoulder more back, maybe a more top view, and then try maybe from a bottom view looking up at the character. That looks very powerful too, and I'm still retaining that nice C curve there like that. So I think I'm going to go with something like this. It looks pretty cool. It's a pretty good foundation. We'll work on that in part 2. Alright, so thank you. Please click the thumbs up button. You know, it's not that hard. It's right there. See a little thumb? that thumb up. Just click it if you like this video. I'd appreciate it.